In this week's parasha, Parashat Hukat. So at the end of the parasha, or towards the end, the last two aliyot, we have the journey to the Jewish people, and they're about to go to war against Sichon and against Og, and they're going to win a bunch of wars right now, and great stuff is going to happen. And there's a pasuk, this is Perek Kaf Aleph Pasuk Yudalid. So there's actually a wild pasuk. It says as follows: Al Kenya Amer Sefer Milchamot Adonai Et Vahav Besufa Bet Hanechalim Arnon. About this, it will be said in the story of the wars of Hashem, that which was given at the sea of the reeds and the valleys of Arnon, the Eshad and Nechalim, and the outpouring of the valleys. And there's all these really strange words of places they went to. And then we're going to sing a song about a well coming up. And there's all these words of places and events. And it's very cryptic. It's kind of poetic, like what's going on over here. So it starts off, Al Ken Hi Amar Sefer Milchamot Adonai. And this is what's going to be written in the book of the wars of God. And then it gives you these key words. And if you look at Rashi starts explaining what were these key words and what do they symbolize. And the most famous one is when it gets to the pasuk of Eshad HaNechalim, the outpourings of the valleys. So Rashi brings down a midrash of the enemies of the Jewish people were hiding out in the caves between the mountains, and as the Jewish people were going to cross through, the non-Jews were going to come out, the enemies over there in the desert were going to attack us from those holes. And Hashem made this miracle, and the two sides of the mountains closed up, and the caves closed up, and the rocks crushed the people inside, and we were saved, and we didn't even know that they were going to attack us. And it was great miracles that happened over here that we only find out later. And part of this book of the wars of Hashem, part of what the stories we're going to tell are going to tell over these stories of the great miracles that Hashem did. And Rashi says, okay, so but it's a funny language. It says, and so too it's going to say in the Sefer of the Milchamot Adonai, in the book of the wars of God. So what is this book? So Rashi explains, Alken al Chaneyazo, on this encampment, we're gonna v'nisim shenasuba, and all the miracles that are gonna happen here. Ye'amer b'sefer Milchamot Adonai. It's gonna say in the story of the war of Hashem, keshem nisim. Sefer here means a language of sipur. When we're going to tell over these miracles, have a sipur, we're going to talk about all the miracles that happened that happened to our forefathers. Yesapru et vahav vegomer. It's going to explain to the story of the vahav and the sufa and the nachalim and all the different stories. So Rashi says when we're going to the sefer of the wars of God means when we're going to tell over these stories and create these stories in the future. We're going to tell over all the miracles that are going to happen now in the desert. But comes along the Ibn Ezra. And comes along the Ramban as well, and the Ibn Ezra and the Ramban say, no. There actually is a book, Milchamot Hashem, the wars of God. And the Ibn Ezra says it was probably a book written in the times of Avraham, a very old book. And the Ramban as well, Sefer Milchamot Hashem shayu b'dorot hahem anashim chachamim kotvim sipur milchamot hagdolot. Says the Ramban, in those generations, there were people who wrote down an accounting of all the great wars that took place in all times. And these are part of the great wars that took place. And the Ramban will go on to explain what these code words are talking about. But there actually was some other kind of book, a very strange thing. The Torah here is now telling us there was another book written at this time, which we've lost. According to the Ibn Ezra, according to the Ramban, we don't have these books anymore. Some commentators have other approaches, that maybe it's the book of Devarim, the wars that will happen over there, or the book of Yoshua, when we conquered the land of Israel. But their approach is a different book in those time periods. And the Torah is now quoting, there's another book that refers to these great miracles that happened to the Jewish people in the desert. Interesting. In the other Midrashim, they're going to talk about Milchamot Hashem being very metaphoric of the Milchamot, of the fighting for learning Torah. And they're going to have all these words symbolize learning Torah and all these other Midrashic ideas. I just thought the Ramban and Ibn Ezra were fascinating because they're saying, no, actual books from those generations that were written. But I wanted to say a different idea. Maybe we could take Rashi. That Rashi says it's a sipur that's going to be told. We're going to tell over the story of all these wars. Maybe we can take it back to what we said in the previous Dvar Torah about the Shaar Nun. That ultimately there's going to be a book that's going to detail the wars that God's going to fight for us. And Vayhi bin so Aaron Vayomer Moshe, when the Aaron is going, Moshe will say, Kuma Adonai ve'yafutzu ovecha, God arise and conquer all those enemies. The book of Milchamot Hashem is the book of the wars that ultimately we said we sinned, so it never happened, but it's going to happen. And maybe, like Rashi brings down now, he told one story of a couple stories of the Vahav and the Sufa and the Eshet Nechalim. Those stories where we walk through valleys and the enemies in the caves get crushed by the mountains. Big miracles already start to happen. Very similar to the Kum Hashem Ifutzu Oivecha, the great wars God will fight. That ultimately it's the Shaar Nun. It's the book that wasn't written. It's the book that's going to happen when God fights those wars. But maybe right now, at the very end of our time in the desert, and maybe at the start of our time in the land of Israel, the book starts to be written, and this is already the beginning of the book of the Shaar Nun happening right now in the parasha. Shabbat Shalom.